as a Christian, most of the times we're always saying, we are healed in his stripes. We are healed in his stripes. But are you truly healed? Hello and welcome to Future Husband Diaries. My name is Maya Spender and welcome. If you are a girl or you're a woman who's been healing with us, who's been journaling with us, who's been praying with us, welcome home. And for anyone who's new, welcome. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I've been sick for the past 2 weeks and it's been really, really bad. As you can see, my voice, dead, buried. Yes, but I'm so glad that I'm actually better now. And yeah, I'm glad to be back. You know, when you rely so much on your voice for a lot of things, you realize that you put so much effort and what's into your voice, and then when you lose it, you start to, lose a little bit of yourself. So yeah, I'm glad to be back and I'm glad that I have my voice back. So our topic today is one that I really wanted to talk about. I was watching this video online, and it was talking about how, and this woman was asking, like, when it comes to dating, why would a man expect me to, why would he date me if he's not healed? And then I asked myself, most of the time, especially when we're Christians, let's be real, especially when we're Christians, we tend to say, we are healed by his stripes. We instantly just think of it like justification, like, I'm healed. Damn, everything is good. And then you'll be like, okay, look at me. This person hurt me. 3 days later, I'm done. I'm going to meet the love of my life. I'm just going to get into a relationship. And then we forget that sometimes healing needs to be intentional. Healing needs to be intentional. You need to put effort and make sure that you get healed in the process. It really is something that you have to look for and look into doing, especially when you're Black and African. I don't know, maybe you're Black and American is different. But if you're Black and African, especially if you're like, okay, I'm looking for someone to talk to, people will be like, oh, really? Why? I'm like, no, I want to heal. I'm like, Black people don't do that. Africans don't do that. We have that misconception of saying wounds are supposed to be buried deep inside. Someone hurts you, move on, get into another. And then we do not realize that most of the times this affects the next relationship that we're in, affects the other person, and then we end up hurting them without really realizing that we are hurting the next person because we are not fully healed. We have told ourselves that as long as time passes, or as long as I tell myself that I'm done with this relationship, then I have healed. Girl, that's not true. You need to heal. You need to be intentional. You need to process those things. And for you to truly understand what transpired or what happened to you, there are some things that happened to you that were out of your control. There are some things that happened to you, maybe because you intentionally did that, but you need to heal and allow yourself to heal from that. And then we kid ourselves into thinking that time just heals. Yes, time really does heal our wounds, but time with effort and intentionality, that's what heals us. If it's not like that, then you will not be able to heal. What is it that we need to do? We need to make sure that we are intentional about our healing. It might be that you were in a relationship 3 years ago and you still haven't healed. It's still possible. You're in a relationship 10 years ago and you still haven't healed because of the trauma that you're bringing in. Then the problem that we have now is we might bring in the trauma into the next relationship, and then we trauma bond with the next person. We expect that person to heal us. There is this thing where people, I do not know why people are always saying, you will heal you. No, I'm not saying all of us are truly healed. It's not really possible. And looking into someone to healing you is not the way to go, especially in relationships. There are some things that you have to do. I'm not saying everyone who gets into a relationship, they have to be fully healed. It doesn't happen, because sometimes there are some things that are underneath the cushion or underneath the bed that you're not really aware of. But then that trauma might arise if someone says something, that trauma might arise if something happens, right? So what is it that we need to do? We need to be intentional and be able to identify that this is a problem and this is and try to make sure that we heal, and do not let someone else to be the one who heals us. The way that to be like, this person will heal me, this one has healed me, it is possible. But then afterwards, after they have healed you, because they remind you so much of your trauma, at the end of the day, you might need to break up with that person so that you can be able to move on to the next relationship. I've seen guys who do that. We do that a lot, where we say, I'm dating this girl, and then after they have healed, then you become absolute, you're not necessary anymore, then they move on to the next person. So now you shouldn't be like that, especially as Christians. We tell ourselves that as Christians we are immune to this. No one is immune to all of this. We get hurt by what other people say, we get hurt over things that happen. So we need to make sure that in the next time we are not looking into the next person to actually heal us, but we're looking into God. If you're really intentional about healing, pray about it. I know. Make sure that you are intentional. You understand the problem. You pray about it. You ask God for what you do, devotions about it. Look into ways that will make you to heal. Like the 5-step processes. You need to do this and do that and do that. 6 degrees of separation, whichever way. Go through the motions, understand the whole process, so that at the next relationship that you're in, you're not bringing in the trauma that someone else did and someone else brought, and then you're expecting that person to heal you. It's not fair to the person that you're in a relationship with to expect that person to heal you. It's not their job to heal you. Their job is to love you, and now you want them to heal you, and then after they've healed you, what are you going to do? So we all have our hurt that we have before, and all of those things. So we need to be mindful about all of that. How can we be mindful? There are some things that maybe you are hurt by the church, you're hurt by the people, you're hurt by your childhood. Now we all have our own trauma that sometimes people take it as I have my own generational trauma, I have my own. Instead of trying to make sure that we get healed from it, we take it as a badge of honor. I'm like, this is mine, and we take it, which affects the next relationship that we're in. So what is it that we need to do? We need to be intentional about healing. The steps of healing is making sure that you acknowledge that there is a problem, and then you work towards making sure that problem, I'm not saying disappears as such, but then you fully understand the whole problem. People have different kinds of hurt. Your hurt, my hurt, someone else's hurt, someone else's is different. We might be in the same relationship, but we might be hurt in different ways. I might hurt you in some way, you might hurt me in some way. So make sure that we heal, we understand, we talk it out, and we fully are in a right headspace for the next relationship that comes in, which is truly hard most of the times, because we always be like, what if he says no? Heal. Do not expect that person to come in and heal you. That is what you're not supposed to do. Do not make sure that you are expecting that person to fill in a void that was created by someone else. Obviously, they're not going to fill in that void. It's not possible. So fill that void yourself. And then there are some things that we tend to, because of the trauma that we have, then we tend to accept what other people do to us. We also need to heal from that. And we have to be intentional about that. So what is it that I'm telling you today? Make sure that you're intentional about your healing. Make sure that you understand the problems, things that have occurred, all the trauma that has been brought to you, the baggage that you have. Make an intention to heal from it. And if it so happens that you might need to go to therapy, or you might just need to talk to your friend, or you might just need to talk to someone that you truly trust, be able to do that, even if it means there are some people who deal with it in a different way. Maybe you are the person who needs to write something down. And after you've written it down, you throw it away, or you put it somewhere in a diary. Just do that. Journal it out. Talk to someone about it. What we don't need to do is for you to actually say, I'm okay, because, I'm a child of God. I'm good. No. What I like about David is after he had all of that trauma and all of those things that he had done, had happened to him and all of that, there are some things when you are listening to the Psalms that he has, he's asking the Lord, cleanse me, oh Lord, is what all of those things we have to be intentional about it. Do what works for you. For me, I know what works for me when I have to deal with something. I have to go into my room, write about it, do some devotional, pray about it, and what it helps me. I'm not saying it fully does help me, because then afterwards I have to be able to talk to someone that I'm really confident that this person will not go about telling people about my business. And that's my process. So understand your process, know yourself, understand yourself, so that at the end of the day, you're not bringing in trauma into the next relationship. It's not nice to be bringing baggage into the next relationship, but what is it that you have to do? You have to make sure that the baggage that you have, the other baggage that you have, the only baggage that you're bringing, you understand the baggage that you're bringing, and you are upfront about it. You tell the other person, this is what I have understood, that I'm like this sometimes when this happens to me, and I'm trying to work on that so that I can be able to fully heal, because it's not possible for you to be fully healed. Yes, right? But understanding the problem and looking for ways and to manage and all of that, that is how you build a healthy relationship. Because I'm so tired of us building unhealthy relationships, because that is how trauma has made it. So many unhealthy, not toxic relationships, no. So many unhealthy relationships. You find a good person and another good person coming in, and they are so unhealthy towards each other, so that at the end of the day, that relationship just bursts into flames, and it becomes like it becomes an explosion, or whichever way, yeah. So let's be intentional about healing. Understand your problem, understand who you are, understand your character, understand who you truly want to be, and be able to look and identify and tell the other person, this is how I am. But I'm not saying I'm happy where I am, like, yes, I have this type of trauma, I have this happened to me, and this is where I'm at, I'm going to stay here. No, but I'm trying and I'm mitigating that, and this is the steps that I'm doing so that I can be able to. And if you identify this from me, be able to understand that I'm still trying, but call me out of it so that I truly understand what is going on. Because so many of us are breaking up relationships that could have been something, and now they're becoming unhealthy and they're becoming toxic, and I don't know, so many things happening, all because of the whole process of us not truly fully healing before we get into a relationship. I'm not saying be 100% fully healed, but be on the process, be on the steps, working towards something. Because now we're always looking at addicts, and then we'll be like, addicts, they need to work the program, they need to work the steps so that they can fully heal. Yes, but then why are we not being intentional about heartbreak that we have suffered before, or the trauma that we have suffered before, and take steps to make sure that all of that we are healed or in the process of healing before we get into the other relationship? Because if we do not do that, at the end of the day, it now affects the next person that we're in a relationship with. That person now gets trauma, it now becomes like a domino effect. You bringing your trauma into a relationship traumatizes the next person traumatizes, and then at the end of the day, all of us are traumatized. So be on the lookout for that. There are the people who are looking and getting into a relationship with you, not because they want to be in a relationship with you, but they're seeing that you can provide the healing that they need. Be on the lookout for that. So that, yes, you might be working towards your own trauma, but then that person is not working towards their trauma. They are hoping that you, with your bright sunlight and you will come into the relationship, heal them. After they're done being healed, move on to the next person who they'll be in a healthy relationship with. Be on the lookout for that. And that is one of the unhealthy traits that are out there at the moment. Most of the people do that. They expect other people to heal them heal them, and then they move on, and then they start healthy relationship. You might be wondering, like, oh, okay, like every time when I'm in a relationship with someone, after they're done with me, they go into a relationship and they become better version of themselves than who they were when they were with me. It's not about you, baby girl. Maybe sometimes they're just coming into the relationship for you to actually heal them, and after they heal, they're gone, because you have that radiance and that healing and that warmth that they need at that time. So be on the lookout for that, and make sure that in a relationship, it's not about you giving, and them taking, and you not being provided something in return. It's supposed to be a symbiotic relationship. It's supposed to be something where, I'm not saying everything is 50-50. In a relationship, nothing is 50-50, right? But you need to be getting something out of that relationship. You need to be gaining something, being empowered, or being being moved up levels in some aspect in your life, at the same time as you are building the other person up. It's all about building each other so that we become better versions of ourselves. Not about you being drained and that person actually fully being battery charged so they can move on. Have you ever been in a relationship, then afterwards, I was in a relationship with this person, and afterwards I felt so drained. Afterwards, that relationship drained me. I have nothing left. That is the kind of relationship where that person was actually looking for healing from you, and you were not being given something in return. That person was just juicing themselves up by your kind of warmth, and you are being depleted along the way. That is not a healthy relationship to be in. So you need to be careful about that, as people who come in just to get themselves charged through us. And then at the same time, let us not be the other person again, where we are actually looking for healing other person so that we can be fully charged and then move on to the next. Let us not be that kind of people. And you might be wondering, like, it doesn't happen in Christian society. It happens even in Christian society. We are not supposed to over-spiritualize Christians and be like, Christians are immune to this and that. We are not immune to some other things. A lot of the things that we have, the problems that people have, is the same problems that we have as Christians. And not be over-spiritualizing and then be like, but he's a pastor, but he's an elder at church, but he's a youth choir leader, so he can't be having trauma, or he can't be doing this. No, they are human. You are human. They are human. We are all human. So at the end of the day, and we are not immune to all the things that can happen to other people. So the fact that he has a position, or is well known in the Christian sector, or what, or he seems to be very spiritual in his work, doesn't mean that he doesn't have trauma, or doesn't mean that that person might not be using you to actually uplift themselves and deplete you along the process. It's supposed to be something that you work together and you build together. Become friends, become the kind of people that build each other up, not the other person is gaining and the other person is losing. That is what unhealed relationships do. And yeah, don't do that. So that's all that I had for you today. I didn't want to go on further because voice is gone. I do not have a voice. But next week, tune in as we dive deep into something else that might be affecting women out there in the dating sector, so that we can be able to heal from it. So join the community if you want to heal. Join the community if you want to be part of the girls who want to journal, who want to be intentional about their healing, so that at the end of the day, we become better versions of ourselves. That's all I had for you today. See you next time. Bye.